Yeah, I mean, I'm really convinced if it wasn't for the Eagles' run, the city would be relentless on the Sixers.
The Phillies are good, at least.
I'm excited, man. It's they just actually played.
Yeah,
Did you see the Colorado Rockies gave up a sac fly grand slam, basically?
No, I didn't see that. I saw Soto homered in his first at bat, though.
Yeah, it was the Little League play of Little League plays. Or maybe it was a 3-run homer. I don't know what it was, but a sac fly cleared the bases. There was 2 overthrows. It was just crazy.
Some things never change, even in spring training.
All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you on a Saturday night, 6:30 live before lock here, 7:30 start. We've got 4 games, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, and 10 o'clock. So we're going to go game by game today. That should take about half the show. Then we'll have half the show to talk plays, strategies, and what have ye. So that will be fun. I see Mr. Lindquist is in the chat. I got to do a show with him last night. In covering for Greg Ehrenberg there. I know Lindy's out in Arizona having fun at spring training. I'm not that far from the spring training here in Florida. I should probably mosey on over to some of the games as well myself. Matt, how are you doing? It's been a hot minute since we've chatted.
It has been a minute. It's All-Star break. I haven't seen you. I've missed you. I'm happy we're back together. You look tan. Yeah, spring training brings back some great memories. Been to a bunch of spring training in Florida and Arizona. I would take trips out with my dad. So spring training, one of the greatest environments in all sports in my mind.
Yeah, plus, hey, if I want to go catch regular season
cheap.
regular season spring training games, I can go to George Steinbrenner Stadium, which is where the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be playing this year. So yeah, good times there. Good times there. But let's jump in on the fun here. We have a few injury notes to cover. We're going to find a lot of Brooklyn value today, so that's going to be the first thing we cover. But Noah Clowney is out, as is D'Angelo Russell. Cam Thomas has played basically 2 games since Thanksgiving. For the most part. So that team is just a bit of a mess. Kyle Lowry is out on the Philly side. He hasn't played in a while. Of course, you have Justin Edwards out as well. We do have Paul George off the injury report. Lonnie Walker is going to be playing. Matt pointed that out to me pre-show here, where he should be making his debut. And then you'll get potentially David Roddy, who is on a 2-way contract now with Philadelphia, having no longer being needed in Atlanta. We get to the LA and Denver game. Everybody's off the injury report, so that should be a fun one to watch. That means Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Jared Vanderbilt are available. Peyton Watson's still injured, but Denver has plenty of other players. Houston and Utah both on a back-to-back here. They're doing we're probably going to rest some guys. Houston has already ruled out Steven Adams. He only played 5 or 6 minutes last night, but Tari Eason has been ruled out. We won't see him on back-to-backs the rest of the season and potentially for the rest of his career. Jayshawn Tate is out. Fred VanVleet missing his 9th game with an ankle issue. Jordan Clarkson out for Utah. He also is unlikely to play on consecutive games down the stretch here. He has been dealing with left foot plantar fasciitis. John Collins and Lauri Markkanen, questionable. So we shall see. We do have word that Walker Kessler is playing. Perhaps they want to see him go against Alperen Şengün, but expect one of those forwards to sit. Colin Sexton remains out. And then that takes us to the night game where the big question mark hanging over everything is Robert Williams III. We know that DeAndre Ayton is out, but if Robert Williams is out, that should change the projection for Donovan Clingan up to about 28, 29 minutes probably. If Williams is in, they're going to split the center minutes. So that puts Clingan closer to about 22 to 24 would be my guess. That's enough of a difference there to make him a neutral play to, wow, I really wish I had him in my lineup. So I think that hits all of the injuries. Any surprises you are waiting on here, Matt?
Not really. I mean, it's the NBA, so you never know where the surprises are going to come from. But I think you hit on it very well. You know, Robert Williams matters because Clingan is at a price now where, you know, you much prefer playing him if Williams is out. I'll put it like that.
All right. Well, here is the actual surprise. We're going to talk about Killian Hayes because it's that time of year, folks. That was not on my bingo card when I woke up this morning is not only talking about Killian Hayes, but doing a little bit of research into it. So we're going to start off on the Brooklyn side here, but D'Angelo Russell out with that ankle issue. Killian Hayes was with the Nets early in training camp. He ended up getting cut probably around the last of the cuts. I believe it was mid-October. He may have played one game. I can't remember for sure, but he ended up with the G League team, the Long Island Nets. He was elevated from the G League when Bojan Bogdanovic was waived. So Hayes still only 23. We know what we're getting. We saw him start, about 60, 70% of the games over the last 4 years where he was available in Detroit. He is a point guard. I don't think there's much upside there, but he is going to be our discount dandy of the day. Trenton Watford is another interesting option. You've got him, Nicholas Claxton, and Day'Ron Sharpe going to be dealing with Joel Embiid. Hopefully those other two don't get into foul trouble, because that means less Watford on Embiid, and Watford is kind of an interesting play here. What are you thinking for the Nets here? Because I think we're going to have two prominent guys in the majority of our lineups in Hayes and Watford.
I mean, yeah, but I think that the best guy to me is Nick Claxton at 5,400. That is just a really, really cheap tag for him. Like, he's playing well right now too. He never plays huge minutes, but his average price tag this year is a little over 6K. He's 5,400. Matchup with Embiid doesn't scare me. The foul trouble does, but who knows with Embiid? So I like Claxton quite a bit at 54. The center spot, it's hard to get there because Jokic, Sengun, etc. But I like Claxton a lot. Killian Hayes, I mean, I don't have much to say about him. Like, he's not very good. I get it. He's 3,600, and you can't really go wrong with guys like that are projected for close to 20 fantasy points. But at any sort of ownership, like, I'm more than fine getting away from him. That said, like, I'm not like going out of my way to fade him either. Watford looks good. He's projected to be around 20% owned, a little bit under owned. Power forward eligibility at 4,400. I like him. I like Day'Ron Sharpe as a pivot off Claxton. Their price tags are getting close together, though, which is why I prefer Claxton. All in all, there are no real priorities from the Brooklyn side or from the Philly side, to be quite honest, on this slate as a whole. My favorite piece would be Claxton. The guy I think that's easiest to get to is Watford or Hayes.
All right. I'm looking here. It says Killian Hayes is checking in on about 24% of the DraftKings lineups and about 30% on the FanDuel lineups. I'm playing on all three sites. Well, the two big ones and then the secret site tonight here. But Killian Hayes is going to be, I would be above the field on DraftKings and FanDuel for him. Cameron Johnson, an interesting option. Safe floor. Ceiling is kind of hard to truly envision, but I think he's a fine building block. For his ceiling, he needs to be very efficient from the field on his shots, and he needs to pick up some hustle helper stats. He could get there, but he's kind of a 25 to 30 fantasy point guy instead of a flirting with 40 fantasy point guy. Now, we're running down to the dregs here on Brooklyn, and it's not exactly a stout defense there for Philly, but he is someone I think who is an acceptable play, not a must play. But it's going to be these these Brooklyn guys that are really making things work here to get in the likes of LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, etc., and getting that stars and scrubs. But that means we're going to see that secondary tier underrepresented in tournaments, most likely. So we're going to talk about those guys. Anything else here you want to mention from the Nets?
Not really. It's weird about Cam Johnson too, because like you look back a couple months ago and he was like a guy that was putting up 40 plus consistently. But he's just not that guy right now. So I'm with you. Like, he's a fine play. I guess more of a cash game play than tournament guy.
Yeah. Yeah. A building block, no issues with him in my lineup, but it's not, I'm going to find those extra $300 to get him into my lineup kind of a guy. It's like, we'll just take what the salary cap gives us. Turning our attention here to the Philadelphia side, we do have Joel Embiid in the mix here. He is $10,300 on FanDuel, just $9,400 on DraftKings. He himself has said that the knee issue has really sapped his explosiveness. So he is kind of lamenting what has happened here for his career. I think if you guys could see the producer cam, you would see tears rolling down Mike Lawrence's cheek right now, just thinking about how the process and how that's played out. So for me, give or take on Embiid, he still has 50 fantasy point upside. Getting there regularly, tough ask. Kelly Oubre Jr. was a little bit interesting. You could get the over on 19.5 PRA, courtesy of Odd Shoppers, one of the better bets earlier today. We'll look in on that in a minute and see where that's at. But Quentin Grimes is really the only guy I'm sort of interested in here, Matt. Maybe a Tyrese Maxey, but I'd rather have Jamal Murray. I'd rather work my way up to LaMelo Ball, etc. It's these guys that are some of those secondary plays, the Embiids, the Maxies. How are you feeling about the Sixers?
I don't like the Philly at all. I don't want to play Philly when they're all fully healthy, or at least they go into the game fully healthy. This matchup, Brooklyn's not like a great defensive team, but they're also not a fast-paced team either. Like, there's no way I'm paying 9,400 for Embiid here. I know he looks pretty good in the tools, but you're sacrificing Jokic to play Embiid for the most part. I mean, sure, you can play them both, but then you're sacrificing a lot else. And just give me Jokic in this spot, like all day, every day of the week. No question for me. No way I'm playing Embiid here. I'm like off Embiid until further notice, unless it's a really small slate and or the price tag is too good to pass up and he's not getting ownership. The price tag is pretty good here, but he's getting ownership. So not interested in him. We've got other options that I think look better. Maxey, too expensive with Embiid and Paul George. I mean, the ghost of Paul George, no thank you. And then the other guys, like, I'm not interested when they're fully healthy or when they have their big three in. Grimes is fine. I think he looks like Cam Johnson at the shooting guard position. Not going out of my way to play him, but if I'd love to line up at 5,100, sure. But that's about it.
All right, look in here. We got that checking out Odd Shopper here. We've got that Kelly Oubre Jr. bet, sort of a neutral one right now. They raised it to the PRA over under of 20.5. The over is plus 100, true odds plus 103. So essentially a neutral bet there, but you could get that earlier today at 19.5 and almost even money. I think it was like 110, minus 110, while some sites were offering it at minus 125 to minus 130 at 20.5. PRA. That's why you guys got to use Odd Shopper to find the goodness that is out there. You know what? The Odd Shopper portfolio EV tool, you guys can get 75% off a 1-month subscription by using the promo code RETURN. You will see that in the banner of this show, but that deal goes away very, very soon. But check it out. You get it for a full month, 75% off. We've got college basketball, NHL, NBA, all sorts of the fun stuff in there. It does all heavy lifting for you. Check that out. That is Odds Shopper. All right, game number 2 here. This one should be exciting to watch. We've got the Lakers in Denver. Denver favored by 6.5 at home. We've got everyone healthy save for Peyton Watson. Matt, I'm just going to hand this one over to you because we have the 3 of the 5 best median fantasy point projection plays in this game. What do you want to do here?
Yeah, Jokic is, I think, the ultimate priority. It's hard to, you'd say you want to like game stack this game. Well, good luck because the salaries are pretty exorbitant to try to do that. But if you're parsing it out, like Jokic is the clear top priority for me. He's always great. He's taken a little bit of a step back to just because of how well Jamal Murray's playing, but I think this is just a great spot for him against the Lakers team that has nothing inside. After that, I think Murray looks like the next best piece in this game. I mean, the Lakers are, we don't know what they are defensively. They don't know what they are defensively right now. Swapping Luka for Anthony Davis certainly isn't going to help your defense, at least not right away. Not ever, but not right away, certainly. So Jamal Murray, 7,600, projects for about 40 fantasy points. He looks great here. And then you've got the 2 Lakers guys in LeBron and Luka. It's hard to know exactly what you're going to get out of Luka right now. He looks great in the tools, projects for a little bit over 52 fantasy points. 10-6 is a good price tag. He hasn't really looked like the triple double Luca that we know and love, but you know that could happen in any game. This is a big time spot, competitive game. I prefer him over LeBron, but it's close. And with Luca getting, they're both similarly owned. LeBron is actually a little bit higher owned. So as of right now, I prefer Luca over LeBron, but it's very close. All in all, like I think you want as many of the big names from this game as you can get.
Yeah, Luca made it up almost to 34 minutes in his last game, sat out the second end of the back-to-back there. So he has played 3 games as a Laker. He's gone from 23 and a half to 20 to 20 or to 33 and a third on his minutes. The big thing is his field goal percentage, just 35.6%. That is not good. Only 21% from 3, but he essentially did not play from Christmas all the way until just before the All-Star break. So a little bit of rust there. Expect him to get back to his ways on this one. But we have a similar situation now with 2 super duper stars here. We've saw, LeBron and Anthony Davis play together for many years, and we know that both of them having monster games in the same game, not really going to happen. But you've got an older LeBron here. He is still getting things done, but at some point, we got to expect Luka to get back to form here. It will be interesting to see how they work out. Each is live for 50 fantasy points in any game going forward. Each probably has a floor of around 30. Sounds very similar to Anthony Davis and LeBron here. These guys, the hard part with this is Davis also had access to more defensive stats than Luka. Luka more ball dominant, which kind of tends to get in the way a little bit of Austin Reeves and LeBron James. So they'll figure it out. These are some high level players. And really, the usage is going to those 3 guys. There's not much else in the front court. Wouldn't surprise me if you see LeBron kind of playing the nominal small ball 5, even at age 40 here. What do you like for the Lakers aside from their big 2.5? Reeves, I think, is okay, but I'd rather go to Tyrese Maxey. I'd rather go to Murray, LaMelo Ball, etc. Over Reeves in this one, but we've got a Russell Westbrook and a Remember Me situation. You've got on the other side a weak front court that's going to be going against Jokic. What do you like for the tertiary plays in this matchup?
Yeah, as far as Reeves go, first, I think he's just overpriced with Luca in, so that's going to be a no for me. He looks considerably worse than the top guys as far as the tools go, so that's how I view it as well. Nice confirmation bias there. The other guys in the Lakers don't really do it for me here. Luca in, LeBron in. They're not cheap enough where I think you need to do it. So I'm good on all like the secondary, third tier pieces from the Lakers. It's Luca and LeBron for me. Neither of them are a must because Jokic is the stronger play, but I'd like to be able to get to at least one of LeBron or Luca.
Fair enough. I just wanted to see here if yes, Westbrook did play in the last game. Came off the bench, played 25 minutes, 35 seconds there. 20 fantasy points on FanDuel, just probably on DraftKings, just under on FanDuel. So expecting him to get back into form here. And the into form part is actually being a legitimate fantasy producer. Now, he was aided for Murray was hurt for a little bit of the time while Westbrook was in the starting lineup. Aaron Gordon also injured for a while. Those guys are not really those guys are available, which has put Westbrook back on the bench here. But him playing alongside Jokic has given him somebody that can facilitate for him, let him do his things. I don't want to say he's miscast. He should be out there on the island of misfit toys, but he has become a reasonable fantasy option in Denver. That is not something that I saw happening this season. Plus, he does get a little bit of mop-up duty. I don't think there's going to be as much of that in tonight's game, but we never know what's going to happen in the NBA these days. But he is someone who is back in the mix. Anything else?
And Denver rolls everyone. Denver rolls everyone, so there could easily be tonight. I love this Nuggets team. They're my favorite to win the title right now.
All right. Anything else from this mile-high matchup?
The Denver pieces, though. You asked me about the Lakers secondary pieces. Like the Nuggets guys are the ones that look good to me. Aaron Gordon, he's too cheap. The Lakers are awful inside. 4,800 for Aaron Gordon this spot. I like that a lot. Michael Porter Jr. also looks good to me. So the Denver guys in particular look like, really, really strong plays, and the Laker guys look good too.
All right, Houston at Utah. The big news we're waiting on there is what's going to happen with the Utah front court. That would be the availability for Elori Markkanen and for John Collins. It's a back-to-back for Utah. We know they don't want to win, but they are at home here. Also a back-to-back for Houston. Houston is going to be without Tari Eason, Jashawn Tate, and Fred VanVleet, missing his 9th game with that ankle issue. We got to see Jabari Smith Jr. come back last night, played 38 minutes, came off the bench there. I think he ended up fouling out as well. So he missed a whole host of games, about 7 weeks worth of games with a broken hand. And it was his non-shooting hand. It was his left hand, not his right hand. He's a righty. So conditioning didn't seem to be a problem. We'll have to see what happens. We're not projecting him for 38 minutes. I think around 30 minutes is reasonable tonight. I get a little bit nervous if he's not in the starting lineup, but and thinking that 30 is probably his ceiling. If he's in the starting lineup, then I think 32, 34 could be realistic. Again, blowout potential in this game, depending on what happens with the Jazz. Start us off with Houston. What do you think here? Amen Thompson looking pretty damn good.
I don't know. I was seeing I was muted on playback, so I wasn't following. I heard you say Amen Thompson, but
what do you think about Amen Thompson? And then talk about the rest of the Rockets.
Well, the Rockets are on a back-to-back. Big win for them last night against Minnesota. Amen Thompson is a guy that is always in play because of his upside, but his price tag is also up there. I mean, he's 8,800. He projects for a little bit over 42 fantasy points. I'm not, going out of my way to get that guy in my lineups. I think he's fine, and we know he has upside, but he's a tournament upside play, I think, and nothing really more. The guy that looks like a strong play in all formats from Houston is going to be, the two guys are Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. You talked about Jabari a little bit. He's back now. You've got no Tari Eason. Let's me not forget, he was the 3rd overall pick 2 years ago, in the Chet Bankero draft. So he's got upside, if nothing else. And then Jalen Green playing good ball, too cheap at 7,200.
All right. I'm a little more excited about Amen Thompson here than you are. In his 8 games without VanVleet, he's averaging just shy of 38 minutes per game. Scoring is kind of the thing. He does everything, but scoring, he doesn't get the volume there. Only 10.4 field goal attempts per game. He is hitting 55%. He's averaging 14.4 points, 8.3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3.6 stocks. That is combined blocks and steals. I am playing on the blue side tonight as well. Thompson is also going to be in my Yahoo lineup. I love the 3 points for blocks and steals. He's absolutely fine on DraftKings. He's where I'm kind of making a stand. Again, I want to look at some of these secondary plays that aren't the big 3 or 4. And that's where I want to try to make my stand against the field tonight. Definitely will be playing, the Doncic, the Jokic, LeBron, etc. But I want to make a cognizant effort to get a little bit above the field on players like Thompson. Let's see. Key things with Utah. Probably, I guess we see Svi Mykhailiuk starting tonight with Jordan Clarkson out. There's a variety of ways they could go. We'll have to see that. But my guess is that Mykhailiuk is going to be the guy getting some extra run because Clarkson is out. The last 2 games where Clarkson is out, we saw Isaiah Collier, the rookie and second-year player Keontae George, get a little bit more playing time together on the court. They average 8 to 10 minutes a game on the court together. But in the 2 games where Clarkson was out, they saw about 3 extra minutes, excluding both those games randomly went into overtime, and those guys played every minute of overtime. Taking that out of the equation, they do get a little boost there with in games where Clarkson has been out as he deals with that plantar fascia injury there. So I think they're okay on this one. What do you like here from the Utah side?
From the Utah side, still a little bit of unknown here. Um, hopefully that's better in playback now. Um, as of right now, I think John Collins and Walker Kessler look good. They're a little bit underowned. Hard for me to prioritize Utah in this spot though. You know, it's not a good spot for them. They're on a back to back. I don't love the idea of getting a ton of Utah. Like that said, I think Collins and Kessler are the best plays. With Collier also a decent look at 6K. I got no issues with him. After that, it's probably a little bit too thin for me unless something pops. And yeah, Keontae George falls in the Collier bucket. I forgot him. So the two bigs and the two guards are good plays. Nothing more, nothing less for me.
All right. Would Spee intrigue you a little bit if he does draw the start?
Yeah, I think he'd be a fine play then. I'm not like rushing to lock him in, but we don't have a ton of value on this slate. So Spee at 4,500 will look decent.
Yeah. And just to be clear, it's not Utah is not without players. They have plenty. Bryce Sensabaugh is floating around there. Who is they've got another rookie that the Cody Williams is, he's getting DNPs, but he's up there with the club. Kyle Filipkowski is there. He kind of needs one of the front court guys to be out for him to do much. I don't really want to play those guys aside from Mikhailuk, but it wouldn't be a complete shock for Sensabaugh to somehow draw a spot start there. So that is kind of an interesting side here. One other guy, Cam Whitmore. DNP coach's decision last night. You think he slides in back into playing time tonight with three guys out for Houston?
Maybe Udoka hates Cam Whitmore, so I don't know. Maybe not.
All right. Let's take a second here and look at this super chat that we have from S Mitch 926. I'm going to think that stands for son of a Mitch 926. $1.99 super chat. He says, "Can you guys do the nuke of the night?" Producer Mike, do we have the video for that? That'll give Matt a chance to think of his nuke of the night. If we don't, then I got mine ready. All right, here comes the video. And we've got the combo video. We've got Lindy getting his balls blown off. Now Greg's gonna blow up the world. This is all right. Matty B. You guys can follow him at Fantasy Tips Matt on Twitter. Who is your nuke of the night?
I'm gonna go back to a guy that's always treated me well. He's too cheap for this spot. Love him if you play Jokic. Love him even more if you can't get to Jokic and you want some Denver exposure. The slate's lacking good value. I like Aaron Gordon as my nuke of the night, 4,800. Great spot for Denver here. I like a bunch of these Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, my favorite.
All right. I did not see that one coming. Mine is going to be Amen Thompson. So hopefully those of you that don't play him don't have a prayer. See what I did there. Just looking here at the minutes for that can't be right for Aaron Gordon. Wow, he's been back for a lot of games. He played 32 in his last game. So he should be ready to rock tonight. He has had some iffy games, but that just has done things to keep his price lower. So I like that call out, man. I like that call out. All right, final game of the night. We still got 30 minutes here before lock, so we'll talk some strategy. We'll talk answer questions that you guys have. I'm sure someone will be popping up asking the best cash game plays across the main site. So let's get to this final game so we can get a little crowd participation here. Last game, Charlotte at Portland. Portland favored by 5. No DeAndre Ayton, he's going to be out for about a month. We don't know if Robert Williams is available. I think he's only played like 22 games this year. If he is a go, he and Klingon, the rookie, are going to split the center minutes. If he is out, we will probably see Klingon get to the 27, 28 range. That's a big difference there for him at his current price level. So you want to be cognizant of that. And when you go look at his game logs, you need to understand those better games were coming when those guys were out. So we want to think about that. The guy I like from this game a ton is Kamara. I think he is being overlooked. He was someone I did a lot of best ball drafts here to get some of that value on DraftKings. So I was trying to grab Kamara where I could because I think he was undervalued option there. What do you like here from Charlotte? We do have LaMelo Ball and Mark Williams available. They did not play on the second half of the back-to-back in the last game, but they will be full goes tonight. Take us through the Hornets.
I don't love a lot from Charlotte. LaMelo always in play, but he's pricey, and I think there's just better spends. So not like in love with him. Nurk, 4,600, I think is a good contrarian play, coming off the bench. He obviously can put up, big points in a low amount of minutes. But other than that, I think Charlotte's thin on this slate. The Portland side looks better. They get the matchup with Charlotte. If he's in, I like Robert Williams a lot at 3,900. I kind of expect him to be out though, and then I like Klingon a lot at 5,300. I like Klingon a lot anyways, but he becomes like must-play territory for me if Williams is out in this matchup. I like Anthony Simons a lot. Gave him as my nuke of the night the other night. He wasn't very good, but better spots tonight at home against Charlotte. He's getting ownership. I get it though. Generally playing big-ish minutes. Only played 29 against the Lakers. But before that, 38, 32, 34, 34. So I like Simons here. He's not a must for me, but he's always in play. And then in a spot against Charlotte, like, just going to boost him a little bit because of that. After that, I'm fine with the Jeremy Grant, Tamani Kamaras of the world. Not must plays for me, but getting to those guys does give you late exposure if we get some news we're not expecting, which it's the NBA.
And it's Portland. So
And Charlotte.
Yes, and in Charlotte as well. God, who was blanking on his name? Who was their point guard that kind of is lurking there off the bench? Not Alfred Payton.
Elf.
The other. No, not Elf,
Damian Baugh.
Yeah, Baugh. So Elf's on his second 2-day contract. I don't think they'll put him on a third. If they put him on a third, he's got to convert to a full contract. So I don't think they're gonna end up doing that. But it just makes things a little bit crowded there in Charlotte with those guys. What do you think the minutes are going to be there for Williams going forward?
What did he play, like 30 in his first game back against the Lakers? He was playing pretty big minutes, like in that stretch where he was balling. So I expect that he's going to get back to like in the mid, lower to mid 30s.
And then just not playing on back-to-backs, kind of things of that nature.
Probably. I think he'll, if I had to guess if he'd be closer to 30 or 35 minutes tonight, I'd say 30. But
yes.
I think he's just kind of ramping up. He missed a bunch of games because of the trade, etc.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, okay. We've got 24 minutes to go. We hit all the good stuff. We mentioned that you guys can get Odd Shopper Portfolio EV for 75% off by using promo code RETURN. For those of you in the DFS world, we've got one for you as well. You can get access to any NBA package that we have. Grab it today. It's $1. It gets you through the 28th of February. Grab it tomorrow. It's $1. It gets you through February 28th. Grab it on Monday. It's $1. It gets you through February 28th. See what I'm doing here? You want to grab that now. Get in here. You can get the full package. Check it out. Have some fun. That goes away on the 28th. But this is your chance to come in and say, hey, am I ready to go down the home stretch here? The most teams playing about 20 games left on the season. And then, of course, we have 6 weeks at least of NBA playoffs. So we got a lot of fun out there with the NBA sims and the other accoutrements like the boom bust tool, etc. So you guys can use that right now with promo code welcome back. gets you any package for $1. That reverts to the regular package on March 1st. You have a chance to opt out. We're not doing any bait and switch here, but it's your chance to check things out for almost a week here for $1. Okay, we had some questions here about Aaron Holiday. Well, let's see. Aaron Holiday is the least fantasy productive of the Holiday brothers. He is a trap. Yes, he had 40 fantasy points just before the break. However, in the 8 games that Fred VanVleet has been out, Aaron Holiday has been a DNP twice in this stretch. He had 40 fantasy points in that one glorious outing, and I wrote this up in my article, so I want to grab it and see what it was. He had 55 fantasy points in the 5 other games. So do you want to play somebody that could be a DNP tonight? I think he'll play tonight. But do you want to play somebody that has averaged 11 fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 outings? I don't.
Same.
It's one that, and we can go back to when he was in Indiana. When he starts, he just defers. I think he's like I don't have the numbers up, but he's like a 0.6 fantasy minute, 0.6 fantasy points per minute player at best. So if you get him on a lucky night, great, but he's not a good scorer. He makes the extra pass. He's not good on the drive. He doesn't get defensive stats. I'm running out of things to say. I don't have anything positive to say other than it's cool that the 3 brothers all made the NBA. Aside from that, yeah, stay away from Aaron Holiday. But I knew that question was going to come up because no stone unturned. We wouldn't be talking about him on a slate like last night, but with only 8 teams in the player pool today, you betcha we're going to mention some of these guys. So, it's things of that. It's like Bryce Sensabaugh could be a DNP tonight, but we did see him, a month ago, single-handedly win games against Orlando and Miami in Florida, just piling in the points, and then never to be seen again for the most part. So these are the players that you're like, oh, I wish I would have had that guy. You wish you do until you got to get the zeros from him. That's when it gets a little bit scary. Let me see here. Who is how many lineups are you building tonight?
Just one.
Just the one. Let's take a peek here. What do you have? Who is the player that you're worried you're not gonna be able to get into your lineup? Who is your biggest regrets?
Jokic. As of right now, I love him here. He's my favorite spend, but there's some really good mid-tier center options, and there's not a lot of great value. And I think a lot of the Jokic lineups are going to be kind of
Similar.
Similar-ish and filtered the same. So that's a worry
Jokic,
for
Killian
me.
Hayes.
Yeah, and I don't like the Killian Hayeses of the world. So if that means I can't play Jokic, like so be it. When you've got Klingon, Nick Claxton, Sengun, who we didn't talk about, Walker Kessler, like there's some good plays on this slate at center. So it's Jokic for me. Even though I think he's the best play on the slate, he's expensive at a position with a ton of opportunity cost without a lot of good value. That's a recipe for me not getting to him. And he's also going to be owned. So if he weren't going to be owned, then I'd be more willing to go outside my comfort zone on the Killian Hayeses of the world. But he's going to be owned because people are going to play him and still jam the Killian Hayeses of the world.
Yeah, and looking at it real quick here, we did just get the player projections and then the popularity updated. It looks like Killian Hayes is the number 2 most popular play on DraftKings. That is at 36%. He is behind Denny Abdia, who is at 40%. On FanDuel, Hayes is 4th, but you got a tighter grouping. You've got Amen Thompson at 54%, Trendon Watford at 44%, Jabari Smith Jr. at 43%, and then Hayes is at 42%. So for those of you wondering, we also are assuming Svi Mykhailiuk is going to play a prominent role. He is the 8th most popular play on FanDuel. He is at 27%. I would be nervous if he doesn't start. I kind of suspect he's going to start. I figured it would be him over Sensabaugh. Let's take a quick peek here at his game log. Chat, if you have questions, you can put them in. We got 19 minutes to go here. I'm going to start running my lineups. Let me see. So Svi has started 4 of the last 6 games. The two in between, he did not. Oh, I'm sorry. He has not played in 3. So he started in 4 of the last 7 games, but he has not played in the others. In his last 6 games, he has started 5 of them, but in that stretch, he has not gotten off the bench in as many games, 6 times. So he's kind of, it looks like the spot starter, I would guess, for Jordan Clarkson, but not a guarantee.
He's not cheap enough for me to want to play him. Like, he's 4,500. I mean, he's fine, but I'm not excited about it, or even close to excited about it.
Yeah,
I'm actually depressed at the thought of playing him.
39 on the blue site, which is key. That's a nice discount there. And then he is 12 on the secret site. The blue side is FanDuel. The secret side is Yahoo. Yahoo is trying to kill their DFS games by making their price pool incredibly small. John C. Billups would like to know who the top value plays are for $3,600 and below. I believe that will be for DraftKings. So let me quickly filter.
There's not a lot of them.
Killian Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, it's Killian Hayes.
And then it's the Vaya con Dios plays of the night. Aaron Holiday, who we just spent time crapping all over. You've got Tyrese Martin. Okay, he's showing flashes here and there. I'd probably take a chance on Tyrese Martin over Aaron Holiday, just because God only knows what Brooklyn is going to be up to, and they're missing enough key players that I think he is reasonable. And then after that, you're going like with Tijan Salon, who could be a DNP for Charlotte. Seth Curry in a Remember Me game could be a DNP for Charlotte. Ricky Council could be a DNP for Philadelphia here. There's not a lot in there. And then the likes of DeAndre Jordan, Cody Williams, Cam Reddish. Yeah, there's really only Killian Hayes and Tyrese Martin. So hopefully that was your FanDuel question. Let me look at, and he says, how about specifically Salon? So let's take, so we are projecting him for 20 minutes on DraftKings. That gets him to just 13 and a third fantasy points. That's not particularly good. Let me filter this. So Hayes, just for perspective, Hayes is at 20 and a half, Holiday at 16.9, which I think is a little rich. Tyrese Martin at 16, and then it is Salon at 13. Reed Shepard at 11, Seth Curry at 11, Ricky Council at 10. Those guys are at risk of DNPs. But there we go. Oh, Johnny Juzang. Could Johnny Juzang get the start tonight? Has he started yet this year? He has.
Yeah, he has a couple times.
5 starts this year in 38 games. His last start was 6 weeks ago. January 9th was his last start. So probably not, but who knows? Who knows? All right, let's kick off the old Sims here. What player do you think is being underrepresented tonight, Matt? Who is a mistake?
Good question. Man, it's the most leveraged player in the tools right now is Killian Hayes. Oh God, Aaron Gordon. He's projected to be 30% owned, but he has a 38% chance of being optimal. So
mop up duty is the only way I see him getting there.
Who, Hayes or Gordon?
Gordon, no, Holiday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Aaron Holiday. Sorry, did you say Aaron Gordon?
I said Aaron Gordon. Yeah, Aaron Gordon is not a guy. Aaron Holiday is not a guy I'm interested in playing. But Aaron Gordon.
How can I say bad things about your nuke of the night, Aaron Gordon?
Yeah. So it's Aaron Gordon for me, even though he's projected to be owned, not highly enough.
I see any DFS love. I love DFS, Malakar. I've been playing it since 2011. Of course, I love DFS. Oh, Dorian Finney-Smith. Oh, okay. Things are pretty full in the Lakers rotation right now, especially with Vanderbilt back. DFS is their 3-and-D guy. Well, that's kind of all he is. But he's a very important piece, right? He's trying to hold together a very suspect defense. Aside from that, I don't want to play him in DFS. So that's going to be a no for me, dog. A no for me.
Same.
ah, mm, that's the anger of me. Why did I'm trying to build up my FanDuel lineups, yet somehow I changed it to DraftKings Showdown and ran that. All right, we're just closing out that window. We're starting over. More concerned about how EMac couldn't track an entire 5-minute conversation. Well, now I'm trying to build my lineups here, so I'm not good at doing things simultaneously. Let me see here. I want to make sure I am well over the field on drumroll please. Amen Thompson. Westbrook or Collier on FanDuel? I would lean towards Collier. We know he is going to start. I mentioned that he and George get a few extra minutes together on the court when Jordan Clarkson is out. And the last 2 times Jordan Clarkson is out, it's gone to overtime. And these guys have each played all 5 minutes of overtime. So, that must be a guarantee, right? The trend's our friend, Matt. It's happened each of the last 2 times. So clearly it's going to happen tonight. That said, I still like Collier better. His price is definitely getting up there on DraftKings and FanDuel as compared to Yahoo, but I think he is a reasonable option because it seems like they prefer to have him starting, but he still tends to get a few less minutes than George in a lot of games. And that's all, of course, with Colin Sexton being out still. Once Sexton is back, my guess is Sexton starts, and then Collier probably falls out of the mix a little bit because I think they like Keontae George better. Ooh, we did get some starting lineups here. All right,
man. So, I want to ask you about your Amen Thompson though, because I feel like you're just,
chalk donkey.
No, not chalk. He's not even going to be chalky. Like in the sky about him.
He's 50% on FanDuel.
Well, yeah, okay. So is that because on DraftKings, like he's not really? I was more. Is it like a FanDuel specific play, or you just like him everywhere?
I like him everywhere. For FanDuel, I'm gonna try to get to 60%, 65%. DraftKings, I'm gonna try to get 10 or 15% above where he is. I don't have the DraftKings stuff open. I got FanDuel open right now on that one. And producer Mike, yes, we can definitely do that. Sorry, I want to read these starting lineup. So the Nets are starting Hayes, Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, Cam Johnson, Nicholas Claxton. Philly going with Maxey, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre Jr., Paul George, and Joel Embiid. Are you playing anybody from the first game in your lineup?
Claxton.
Okay, so you are going there's so that's kind of you're going with that differentiation point. I looked up his fouls per 36, not too bad. I think it was like just around 3. I thought he had a little bit more of a foul propensity there. So hopefully I looked at the right page because I have closed that out. Oh dear God. The Sims love Luka Doncic. 78%. That feels a little bit rich there, Matt. On DraftKings.
It does.
Or probably on FanDuel.
Yeah, it does, but the Sims will do what the Sims are gonna do.
Who am I to rally against the Sims? All right. Well, other than I just dramatically boosted Amen Thompson because the Sims said don't play that much of him. I'm going to cap these guys at 70%. And I will have plenty of time to rerun these because I hardly get anybody aside from Hayes and Watford in that first game. Just make sure I have Watford. Upload these and then we'll kick off. Ooh, wow, 63% Watford. Okay, 4,400, 4,100. I like that. I'm good on that. Get some Luka over on DK. We shall see. We shall see. All right, so safely, I have downloaded that. Let's go change these. It's fun playing on multiple sites. It really gets the old heart rate up, Matt, as you are trying to, get real life money into the mixer. I'm getting a fair amount of Alperen Şengün. I thought you would appreciate that.
Yeah, the tools really like Şengün.
He's been on a little bit of a I guess a dud. Is that the right downswing compared to what we have seen? Did you know he's only played Utah twice in the last 3 years between all his injuries?
Interesting.
This is the first time Utah and Houston have played each other this year. So while I think Houston and Minnesota are done with their 4 games, they haven't the two teams playing tonight haven't played each other yet. So I found that kind of interesting here because not that it's going to happen tonight, but Şengün I think had 60 fantasy points, and that was in a game where Walker Kessler, Markkanen, and Collins all played last year. So,
He's a stud.
all right, get the old blue site uploaded there. Got 8 minutes to go. Put in any last minute questions here. We're going to end promptly here at 7:30 because some of us have some plans. 200 likes. Nice. Wait, so the goal is to fade the Sims. No. Pick 1 or 2 players where you want to make a stand. Then let the Sims work around that. That's my strategy on this because sometimes you'll get things that do not feel comfortable for you with the Sims. That's the scary part, right? Because it's looking at ROI and it's looking at an unlimited time horizon. So when you win big. Winning big doesn't happen with great frequency unless you're Sean Jeezy and you just have a cheat code to life. That is or Wally Balls. Otherwise, you have to time this out appropriately and survive things. So that's where it is important. But yes, fading the Sims. It's all about risk tolerance and where you want to make your stand.
That doesn't even make sense. Fade the Sims, like what?
No. I think he was saying well, you're using the Sims. Why don't you listen to them? So now we're into the game within the game, right? Because even like you said, oh, the Sims love so and so, but he's not in your life.
Oh, like
right?
fade the Sims for one player. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah. I understand now. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, right? Because it's like, here I am just telling you, welcome back. For $1, you can get any NBA package for up until the 28th. And then it's going to flip back to regular pricing. But it's like, hey, well, why would I get that if you're telling me to not follow it? No. Follow it. And you can run these unfettered and have a very, very good chance. But what I'm looking to do is I'm trying to make a stand on a couple players tonight. But I'm allowing the Sims to do everything else for me because there's no way, even with only 8 teams in the player pool, there's no way I can understand, the 77 viable players tonight that are going to be getting more than 15 minutes, right? That's a tall ask for anybody, and especially on the larger slates. So where I like to be careful with things is just, how many of like Luka. That was a surprise that it liked Luka as much as it did. I wasn't ready to see that. But what it's saying is, hey, Luka's going to be underrepresented on FanDuel. If he has a good game, you're going to get paid handsomely, rewarded handsomely if that all works out, because it's saying go 3 times where the field is on. I will probably tamp that down a little bit as we get after this first wave of games locks. I got an hour to sort of figure out what I want to do. So I will adjust that. But that's the things where it's like, wow, I wasn't seeing it that way. Or, gee, that these are things I want to check out. So that's where it's important. So I got 5 minutes here. So I'm looking at my DraftKings. I just selected 100. Killian Hayes is coming in on 70% of my lineups. Jabari Smith Jr. at 51%. I'm getting Anthony Simons at 50, Aaron Gordon at 50, John Collins at 49 or 39, Doncic at 33. So I said on this one, I want to make sure I get Thompson on more lineups here. I'm getting him on 2%. Whereas the field is at 18%. So what that's saying, the Sims are saying, hey, with his salary where it is, and Matt has mentioned this already, with his salary where it is, and remember, I'm playing 2 of the other sites that give you more points for steals and block shots. You got to think through this, right? And we talked, or I mentioned that the one thing that hurts Thompson is he doesn't score a lot. So in the 8 games without Fred VanVleet, where he's picked up more of the point guard duties, he's only averaging about 14.5 points a game. That's not a lot. He's getting there with 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and almost 4 combined blocks and steals. But those are harder to come by, right? That's why they get more fantasy points. That's why you get rewarded for those. All right, let's see where I get Thompson on this one. And then all right, so Killian Hayes, 69%. Nice. Okay, Thompson at 47%. I like this a little bit more. God, I'm 1/3 of my lineups are going to have Nick Claxton. I got one quarter are having Trenton Watford. So let's download these and we'll upload them into our lineups, and then we will get on out of here because, producer Mike's got a hot date tonight. I mean, he is married to Jennifer Lawrence, for those of you guys who don't know.
I knew that was coming next.
I had to. Yeah,
you had to. I agree.
It makes me laugh. It's kind of funny.
I knew you were going to do it, but I also knew you had to. So, yeah.
It's sort of like the Motor City
tonight,
Kitties.
I don't know if she's playing tonight, so I don't know if she's watching. She's in Buffalo. I'm in Philly, but she always loves when you give her a shout out.
Yes. Well, that is true. She is an actual DFS gamer herself. Sometimes she has to let Mike know what's up, so Mike doesn't have to redeposit as often.
I will not admit on the public airways that she's a better NBA DFS player than me. I will just say I'm a better NFL DFS player than her, and we'll leave it at that.
You each have your strengths and your areas where you can help each other out.
That's what marriage is all about.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Perfect. Let's get those uploaded. I got my lineups in. Oops. Don't say that until you actually do. That's the kiss of death. All right. I got my lineups in. So, surprise for you guys. Tomorrow, we're going to have NBA Live before, because there is later games. There's no NFL, and we're gonna have some fun. Let's go look and see what time that is. I think it's at 5 o'clock. So we're gonna try at least until baseball starts. If you guys keep showing up on Sunday for Live Before Lock, we will keep putting it on out there. But you guys gotta show up here. That's the key. Them's the rules, because it is the weekend. So yeah, 5 o'clock tomorrow. So be here. There should be some decent tournaments, because there is some pent up, demand, because we just went a week without NBA, and there's really nothing else going on until March Madness starts to get in the way. So if you guys show that you can support a Sunday Live Before Lock, I'm sure we will do it until baseball starts. But definitely be here tomorrow. That would be great. So remember, welcome back gets you any Stokastic NBA package for $1 through the 28th, meaning at the end of the 28th, it goes back to regular pricing. So you can have access for the next 6 days for $1. You can also get, what's the other one? Oh, am I blanking on that?
Use code return. Offer valid code Sunday, return. February.
Yes, return gets you 75% off the Odd Shopper Portfolio EV package. So with that, we are going to get on out of here. You guys can follow Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. Mike, if you want to throw on playback, I will be around tonight, so I will keep that going. With that, gamers, good luck.